All right, welcome everybody to the second CrewCast podcast, and a lot of you wanted a new face, new voice out here, and it had to be guys from the crew. So a lot of comments out there. I appreciate all the support. There was so much support. I didn't know if this was going to be a one-time thing or this thing was going to go on for however many episodes, but we're on episode 2 now, so we are here, and like I said, it was amazing last time. But I got some new guests for you. Today, we are adding 3 new guests. Shadow and I are still here, rocking it, holding it down for the crew side, but we also got 3 other members of the crew. We have Sidearms for Reason. Say hi, Sidearms. Hey. We got Joel, or AKA Nobody Epic.
Hey.
Right. And we also got my brother D20. What up, D20?
What it do?
What it do? All right, guys. So we got some important topics today, and a lot of people want to hear your opinions. They want to hear what you have to say on these topics. Let's be candid as possible, because that's what we do with each other. It's just basically a couple things that I want to start off with. First thing I want to start off with is YouTube, the state of YouTube, how everyone is freaking out right now. They are talking about how their analytics aren't looking the same. A lot of the people that are buying Lambos are freaking out that they're not going to be able to pay their car payment. There's a lot of people like PewDiePie that is saying he's going to shut down his whole channel as soon as he gets to 50 million. He's out of here. He's going to restart. He's going to start a brand new channel. So I don't really know how I feel about this. We know that YouTube has changed on a daily basis for the most part. We know that the algorithm has changed so much since the time we started YouTube to the time we are here now today. It has changed dramatically. The scene is crazy now. But I just want to talk a little bit about what you guys think about YouTube, the state of YouTube, and why you think everybody's freaking out so much. We did see one of our members, B00, if you haven't watched that video, I'll leave a link down in the description. He talked about the other side of it, that you don't need to freak out. Things do change. People, it's a good thing that new people are here. But, Joe, I want to start with you. What do you think about the whole YouTube thing now and what's going down with the whole landscape?
Well, I mean, I don't think people need to freak out, but I do think people need to speak up if they feel like they're being wrong, because YouTube has this problem. It's not a problem for them. It's a problem for its users and the people that, work on the site, make videos, the people that consume content on the site. And the problem is they are the only real source that you can do this with on the internet. Obviously, there's Vimeo and a couple of other video watching platforms, but there's no, in terms of community and support, and I mean, it's owned by the Google machine. There's nothing like YouTube on the internet. So they have no competition and no incentive to speak on topics or really fix things in a timely manner. So if there's a problem, the only thing the creators can do, literally, is speak up or go on strike. I mean, some type of strike where the biggest YouTubers say, I'm not going to upload a video, and quite honestly, there's no way that will happen. We live in different countries, we all have different interests. Some of the biggest YouTubers, 6 of the top 10 biggest YouTubers, don't even speak English, so I don't know how we would communicate with them to go on strike. I don't even know if there's programs nowadays where you can translate English to Spanish. I'm not on the internet much. No, I know you could, but honestly, though, it really, there is clearly an issue. It's unlike any company I've seen where there's clearly an issue. It's so obvious to people, and it is not being addressed by the company. And like Philip DeFranco said, it's either one of 2 huge problems. They know what the issue is and they're not saying anything, or they don't know what the issue is, and I don't know which one's worse.
Yeah, I looked at you linked something to us in our little group chat that we have, and he talked about the top 10 YouTubers right now, and you were talking about how the language barrier there, and not only language barrier, but there's not really a barrier. I shouldn't say that. There's a language difference there, and I would figure that the top 10, this being an American company, would have a majority. I would say 6 out of 10 top YouTubers on the site would be English speaking, and that's not the case right now. I think they are going for a variety when they look at everything as a whole. PewDiePie kind of hinted at this in his video. I don't know if you guys saw that, but he hinted that he's a white male and they don't want a white male at the top, which I don't think that's the case. But I do think that the landscape as a whole is changing so freaking much. I can't keep up with who's the new biggest YouTuber. Every time I look on YouTube and I get something in my recommended, it's always a brand new YouTuber I've never heard of before in my life. I watch the video, I'm like, great content. Click their channel, and they have 2 million subscribers. I'm like, where are you from and where did you come from? I have no clue what's going on. I feel like I'm out of the loop half the time, and I felt like we kept up with current YouTube news and current YouTube YouTubers for the most part on a daily basis, and I can't keep up anymore. And for YouTube as a whole, I don't think that they're out of the loop. I think they choose not to answer some questions. They've never been. I don't know if I've ever talked to an employee from YouTube at all, ever in my whole YouTube career.
Well, I mean, you have, but it's just not about YouTube stuff because it's almost, I would be intimidated to ask the question. I've asked the question before, and or I've asked a question about YouTube to a YouTube employee before, and the answer was, "We'll get back to you on that."
Oh, really? I've never.
It's there. You're not encouraged. I mean, unless I can't speak for everyone. You know, people have different relationships with people, and I know people that work at YouTube, and I respect them, and I know their hands would be tied if I were to ask a certain question because it's not their fault that the policy from probably Google. I don't even know if the CEO of YouTube has this policy. I mean, it's probably some PR thing because YouTube drives so much revenue. I couldn't even imagine what the reasons would be to not address the creator base. I mean, and they know the biggest creators on the site are complaining about it. I mean, not the biggest creators. See, I cannot speak Spanish, so I don't know if some of the other top 10. But if you look at the top 10 besides Smosh, I feel like it's been addressed by a lot of people driving a lot of traffic on this channel. Obviously, PewDiePie's talked about it, or on this website, rather. PewDiePie's talked about it multiple times. H3's talked about it multiple times. Many video views, and it's more confusing. I think it frustrates me to know how much I put into YouTube and to not get something back that would be so valuable information. Right. I mean, that's my big point. Is I don't see how it helps them to not say anything. Like it helps for me to know how to get more views, makes them more money.
Let's all get on the same page. What are, just for people who don't know, what are all the issues with YouTube right now? Like, what are people claiming as an issue? And
here's my biggest one. I'll go first, Joe, and I'll let you go second. Sorry.
Okay.
First one I have a problem with. I have 1.4 million subs. 1.4 million. The first thing they see when they open up YouTube is not subscriptions. It is recommended. And recommended, I don't know the algorithm. I don't think anyone knows the algorithm. And I have a problem with me being the third tab that they see when they open up YouTube. I come to YouTube to see the people that I'm subscribed to. Recommended should be a secondary tab that you go to if you're looking for somebody new, you need a change. I don't think that, I'm not saying that I have the best content in the world and that everyone needs to watch my content. Every 1.4 million subscribers need to watch my content. But I'm saying, I'm going to say a low number. 10% of my 1.4 million should be watching my videos because the tab is in the wrong place. That's all I want. I want, when they open up YouTube, their subscriptions that they're logged in is there in the front, and my video is at the top like it used to be. And I'm not complaining. My views as a whole have never been crazy. They have always been around the 100 to 200K mark on a very good video, which I still see from time to time, and I'm okay with that. But I feel like a 10% of that could be adjusted to what I'm getting now, which getting now is from 30 to 40K per video on average, which is not the best in the world. And another 10% would help out tremendously. But at the end of the day, I still think it's because of the tab situation. The recommended, there's so much weight on recommended right now.
What do you look at whenever you first open YouTube? Like, if you're a viewer, Joel, and I guess anyone, because I know the first thing I have a bookmark. My homepage.
Yeah, I was gonna say we had a bookmark, so we don't ever. I don't even know what the homepage would be on it.
Yeah.
I can't. If I were to really do my homework to do my job, I would figure out try to figure out what they're seeing and how I could adjust to that. But I think the answer is you can't adjust because you don't know the algorithm. I mean, I don't expect them to make the algorithm public ever, but if I could just say really quickly, just to get them on the table, I think that the three biggest issues are that one's kind of one that's a lot more complicated, convoluted, and I don't think they would ever address it. The one obvious one is there is a glitch right now, and this is a thing that Phil DeFranco is specifically speaking about, and many have spoken about, that when a lot of creators upload videos, they lose subscribers. And it might not even be a glitch. It might be a policy that we'll never know because they won't say. But you lose subscribers when you upload videos. Quite literally, the days I gain positive subscribers are the days I do not upload videos. Or I just don't lose a lot that day. But it's confusing. It's frustrating. They incentivize you to hit certain goals. sub growth goals, and yet you're losing subscribers and you're not understanding why. So is that one could just be addressed so easily, and it's been months and you don't hear about it. So that one's frustrating. I think that one's the one that should be addressed first and foremost. And then what D4 said, and there, I don't know if they could explain this. I don't know if this is one that could or could not be an issue. This is one that's hardest to understand. But people have been saying views are down. We have been on YouTube for a while. We see views go down every September. There is a natural drop when people go back to school, and a lot of people, not just speaking for ourselves, a lot of people are complaining they are not seeing them go back up. People that are growing a lot faster than us, and people that have, I guess, even more of a valid reason to say that, because like I said, we've been on YouTube for a while, so we've seen ups and downs. It's not a large growth period for us, but at this current point in time. But people are saying that I feel like I don't know. I wouldn't even speak on that issue because, I mean, who the hell knows? It's you could play the guessing game all day and not make content just worrying about that shit like that.
I agree. That's all good points. I don't know what YouTube is trying to do with the whole once you upload, a lot of subscriptions are gone. Are we like, I don't know, are we over, I don't know. I don't know how to
What did he say?
What
Like
do
too
you
concerned?
say?
What did he
Yeah.
say? Too concerned about it?
Yeah, are we too concerned about it? And has Social Blade changed us? When Social Blade first came out, I feel like we were one of the first ones to start watching
explain if someone's a casual. Explain.
If
what
someone
Social Blade
doesn't know what Social Blade is, Social Blade is a website you can go to. You can type your YouTube name or Twitch name. You can type in your Twitter name. It doesn't matter.
Instagram, yeah.
Anything that's social media, and it tells you how many you gained, how many you've dropped, a guesstimate of how much views you get, and then it gives you an estimate over to the right for all the I don't know, the news channels, how much
full analytics spread
website. How much money you made, which is way off, by the way. That's another topic for another day. But it tells you how much you gained, how much you lost. If I did not have Social Blade, I can tell you now, I wouldn't care that much on my numbers.
Probably
I see
wouldn't notice.
1.4 plus, because the way that YouTube is set up, it says 1.4 M, and that's all I see. I don't see the extra 100, 200, 300 past that. I just see 1.4 million, and that's it. And I wouldn't even know, to be honest. I think we're just oversensitized. I don't even know if that's the word I want to use, but to Social Blade, I used to check it on a daily basis. Now that we're not in a growing period, I'll be honest, I don't check it as much because it's depressing because of this time that YouTube is taking away a lot of our subs, which, subs is not the biggest thing in the world, but goodness gracious, I don't know. It's just, it gets where you get into depression. When you make videos, you're not as motivated sometimes because you're like, man, I'm in a slump right now. I can't get out of this thing right now.
I'll make the case to anyone that says it on YouTube, or people have brought it up to me on Twitter, and I just say Social Blade is honestly cancer. I pay attention to what's happening on your analytics dashboard in YouTube. Sometimes it doesn't work, but it's not cancer, it's crack. Is what I've said before.
Yeah,
I don't know why. It's when it's really good and when you're really doing good, you just jerk off to that website. I remember in 2013, I was looking at Social Blade every single hour of every single day, almost. Truly wasting my time. I could have been doing many more productive things. And a lot of people, you want to see those numbers, and then when they go down, it is the shittiest feeling in the world, and they will go down. There is no such thing as the invincible YouTuber. It's a website where it is high highs and low lows, and if you can ride them, you can have a career on this site. You can make a lot of money and you can make a little bit of money, but if you spread it out, if you save your money, you're fine. But it's hard. I don't think people should look at that website, and the website is exposing what is a glitch that may or may not be associated to something like lower views, something like, and I'm not saying that you're losing subs, you're getting lower views, but I'm saying it could be a symbol of a bigger problem that we are not hearing about. But again, no one can truly know, because the bigger thing is we will just not hear about it. So all people can do is guess. Everyone's playing the guessing game. If someone tells you they know and they don't have a YouTube employee badge, they don't know. And maybe if they have a YouTube employee badge, they don't know. So that's the frustration.
Can you guys guess a reason why they don't tell us this kind of stuff, though? Because it directly benefits them, too. Like, if they tell us.
I don't think they care. I think they really do not care.
Yeah, my monopoly point. I mean, they have no incentive to care. So if you're frustrated, so if they tell us, then they have to address our concerns. So they have to spend time they would spend taking money to put people on the trending page, taking taking lunch meetings to put people on the trending page. They would have to spend that time to, not people, companies. They would have to spend that time to address creators' concerns and really hash out some stuff. And I'm being a little harsh. I don't want to sound too negative about it, but it's frustrating because that they would have to do this whole PR thing that they don't have to do because, hey, if you're not on YouTube, where are you going to go? That's the biggest thing. Right. And the answer is nowhere. Hey, we're going to go to Vine. Oh, it's dead. Yeah. There's
Twitch
no
is
competition.
Trying to be that. Twitch is trying to be that now. They're trying to be where you can upload, but there's no pull for me there. I can upload
people
my
have
videos
made that.
on Twitch.
I can't remember who said it, but someone said if it gets to a certain point, we should just people should start throwing their weight behind Twitch and make them a real competitor because Twitch is viable now as a competitor because they are owned by another mega company. You have to be associated with these mega companies to even play the ball game. And Amazon can play the ball game with Google, even though Amazon compared to Google is in the minor leagues.
Yeah, I agree.
I would this is, I feel like, speaking way out of my league of knowledge because it's such large amounts of money and we're getting into big business, but at least Twitch can play the ball game now. They have some financial backing, but Google is I think you can look at Google and YouTube as the same thing because of how much revenue YouTube produces for Google. It's so important to them.
There's no way. I don't think Twitch holds a candle yet. I think that they have the streaming down. That's their baby. That's where they made their home. Now the YouTube platform where you can upload a video and people can come over to your site to watch that. I think they don't have it even close to set up to where they need it to be right now. I have seen people on Twitter that are huge YouTubers say, yeah, let's jump ship. I'm going to jump ship because if they're not going to change, I'm going to jump. Well, that is a plain lie because you have tens of thousands of views per hour, and you're not going to jump ship. You're not going to leave that money. You just bought this one YouTuber. I'm not going to say his name. Just bought a brand new car, like a Lamborghini, and he's talking about how he would jump to Twitch. I'm like, no, you will not. You won't do that. Plus, if you jump, I don't think a lot of people are going to jump with you. I don't think there's going to be a huge.
There's always
jump.
A guy behind you.
Yeah.
If you want to leave the site, next man up. Like they really don't.
And that's how YouTube looks at
how
it.
this is. This is a website you can't. Back in the day, in Michigan, they would have an auto workers union sort this out. Like the union would talk to the company. I just don't see how there could ever be like a YouTube union or whatever. Even if it's not YouTube, there's going to be a platform in which people create things and upload them to the internet. It might not always be called YouTube. It might not always be owned by Google, but there's always going to be something like this. And I don't know how you can even regulate it because it's so worldwide. And if there would be a million people, let's not get it twisted, or I don't want to give off the wrong impression. We are very lucky to do what we do.
Oh, yeah,
and it's there's complaints in every job. So I'd rather be complaining about this than be doing what I used to do, working like picking up trash for a living.
Exactly.
But at the same time, there are changes that could be made. Things could be fixed. The site could be improved for the viewers and the users, the content creators. And it just is frustrating because it just feels like it could just be a few conversations or. PewDiePie said he's talking to YouTube in his latest video. I don't know. I feel like that video was kind of a parody video. He said he was going to delete his channel at 50 million subscribers, which more than anything, it makes a point that the algorithm favors newer channels. Like that's not private. Everyone knows that. If you really follow YouTube and you look at the analytics, it does favor newer channels. Next man up is a real thing for YouTube. And I think that, that's another way of distributing power. You don't always, YouTube doesn't rely on these big channels. They get new big channels all the time. And that sounds like a conspiracy theory, but he said he was going to delete his channel at 50 million subscribers and he's going to talk to YouTube about these changes soon at the end of the video. So I think he actually will talk to YouTube, but I don't know that anything will come of it because many other large YouTubers have talked to people at YouTube and they come back with the same answer. They're trying to figure it out.
Yeah. I don't think there is a real true answer there. And I don't know if they're ever going to get one. I remember even back, now they have an algorithm for everything. There's an algorithm that does trending and all that stuff. I remember back when YouTube, there was literally a person assigned to post videos at the front page that was a cool new video that you could watch. And if you got on that front page, you were the shit. And the most views that you would get at that time was probably 300K. And that was like 30 million at the time because it was just a big to-do. But I don't know. There's an algorithm for everything, and I'm not putting it past YouTube. They could put a blacklist on somebody, even like PewDiePie, put a blacklist on him and kill his channel off over a period of time, and it wouldn't be anything to them. They don't care. At the big scheme, you take PewDiePie out of the big scheme of things, and he's just another drop in the bucket for them.
This isn't something that's new. I mean, it's a new problem, but problems aren't new. Remember back in the day, this was my favorite one, the mobile. What was it? The mobile. What was it called? Side like on the mobile app, the top videos. I don't know if it was called like top videos of the week or something. But you know what I'm saying? Like, remember like
top gaming videos and stuff? Yeah.
Yeah. Top gaming videos like Straight Up Knives, X-Jaws, and got a bunch of videos on that page. And like they would just stay on the page for days because they wouldn't update it. So they would just collect views. Like I got one video. I remember I had this awkward situations video that I made back in the day. I think it was called Gay Friend, or I don't know, gay was in the title. It was about something. I had a story. My friend. This is not super related, but my friend when I was younger tried to make a sexual pass on me, who was a guy. So I told that story, and it was about something else. But I had that. It just got stuck on this top mobile views page, and it got up to like 600,000 views. So if you were to look at all those videos, you would see that and say, that's weird. And obviously, I still collected all the revenue for it, but people were getting their videos stuck on this page, and it was literally like hitting the lottery. I mean, mine wasn't even in the top. I think mine was in the 11th spot, and it got quadruple the amount of views that it normally got, or about quadruple. And if you got to the top spot, you would get. It's a guaranteed million views. People were talking about it. They weren't seeing it on Twitter, but they were talking about it behind the scenes like it was a lottery ticket. And Straight Up Knives got a lot of those. I think White Boy got a lot. X-Jaws got a lot. It was. I mean, that was a fun glitch. This is not such a fun glitch.
We used to hold down 4 of those spots. Speedy used to be in the top 3 every time. Jehovah used to be in the top 15. I used to be in the top 20, and used to be round out top 25 here and there from time to time. So we used to hold down.
Well, like
4
I said,
of those
that
spots,
awkward situations got to 11. Yeah, that 11 one, like it quadrupled. That's so much. Yeah, Speedy got a lot of views off that.
But anyways, we could sit here and talk about YouTube forever.
I can make the whole podcast about that.
Could.
I don't even care about your other topic. I'm not going to chat it inside. I could talk more. I feel like I'm talking.
I feel like we need to.
I do care about that one a lot.
D20 and Shadow, but next topic I want to talk about. We're talking about all this money, and I remember now that Christmas is coming up. I remember back in the 90s, there were so many brand new toys, and it seems like there's not that many toy ads nowadays as there used to be back in the day. Now, I don't watch a lot of TV anyways because YouTube is my TV, but I feel like even when I do watch TV, there used to be a toy commercial on every single channel, whether it was ABC, NBC, CBS, whatever. There was always a toy type of Nerf gun. There was always the new board game coming out. There was RC cars. There were Barbie dolls. There was everything in the world that was coming out. What are some of the gifts that you had to have? You can tell me one that you got or one that you didn't get. I don't care. Tell me something that you just had to have one Christmas. You remember it was like your biggest toy, biggest gift that was just, it would seem like unreachable.
I'll go first on this. But the main
ask the question to someone.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, like the main the one that I can remember like growing up, obviously like a bicycle or something like every kid. Sorry, sad.
Not me.
Like is excited about getting a bicycle for Christmas usually, or a birthday or something like that. But I remember like the main Christmas gift. I mean, because we weren't that well off, we didn't have a lot of money, so it's not like we got tons of stuff every Christmas. But I remember one Christmas we got the N64, like when it first came out, and like you couldn't find them anywhere.
Yeah, this
and
is the same.
Somehow my parents, aka Santa, they like my cousin or aunt or someone found one like at like a Walmart or something like that was like near their house, that was not in a like big city or anything, and they found one and they got it. My parents paid them for it or whatever, and we got that for Christmas. That was probably like the biggest thing that I can remember that was like, we didn't think we were going to get one because, they're sold out everywhere kind of thing.
What about you, Sad?
Okay. I don't remember what this is called, but it was like a tablet, but it wasn't like, with these nice LEDs and stuff like that. It was, the black or green, like the green's like a calculator, like an old Game Boy. It was like a tablet. It was like for educational stuff, I think.
Leapfrog?
But like I remember seeing, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't remember. I just remember seeing like commercials for that, and I remember like I begged my parents for it. I actually never ended up getting it. I don't know why. I was always a good boy, but I think like we could have used the money other places. But you guys know this. I'm an immigrant. My family are my family are immigrants. That's what I'm trying to say.
There you go.
We came here with like less than $100, and then we had to work all our way back up and stuff like that. So we didn't have a ton of cash to buy stuff like that, but they still try to treat me like with like they bought me a Game Boy a couple years after it was released and stuff like that. But I don't really know where I was going with that, to be honest, but there was it could have been the Leapfrog. I think actually you're right, Alexa. Do you remember something like that?
It was something that had games with it. I know.
Yeah,
there
it
was
had games with
something
it
attached. There was a bunch.
I think it was like green or purple.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. There was like 5 of them that came out during that same Christmas. They were all battling for the same spot, like who was going to be the biggest one to emerge, kind of like consoles. And they had all these games with them, and they were like unique games for each one. But there was always one really crappy, series of games on one, and then really good on the other. And so it was just a mess. But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That's what I wanted. But let me tell you about something I did get. Were you guys into Transformers whenever you were younger? Well, maybe that was kind of like a later type of thing.
Very little.
Ew.
Like I remember getting 1 or 2.
Those were expensive as fuck, and my family still bought me some, and I would spend like the whole night or like the whole day as soon as I came back home from school or something. I would just like play with them, like how they would turn into whatever car and then a plane and stuff like that.
Attack
so I got
helicopter.
attack helicopter,
Whatever they might be.
classic. They've really worked their way up since then. But yeah, so I don't know.
What about you, Joel?
I wanted to tag along off of D20s because mine was so similar. That's the Christmas gift I got the most use out of, like N64. I played that for years. I mean, even when I remember we had the PlayStation 2 and we would still go back to the N64. That was my first console that I really, really loved. My parents didn't want us to play like a lot of video games as a child. They kind of didn't care, but we were just involved in so many sports. I feel like they kind of planned that. And so we didn't have like a ton of free time, but we'd always go back to the N64, or my friends would play it. And my grandfather actually got it for me. And I felt like I watched this video recently. My parents did this thing where we had all our recordings of us as children on VCR. It's so funny now, you can just record everything on your iPhone and it's stored in the cloud and all this stuff. But all our recordings, and I'm sure most of your guys', if you have family recordings, are on VCR tapes. And my dad recently paid to have those converted into MP4 files that you're just on a USB. And I've been editing them for him, and I've been looking through them. I have them all on my computer, and it's not that many because some were destroyed by a flood in our basement. But there's one of the time I got the N64, and I was so happy to see myself get it. I was like, oh my god, this is one of the most pivotal moments of my childhood. I'll play that thing for years. I'll fall in love with video games playing that system. And what I said when my grandfather gave it to me, my grandfather, who was the nicest guy ever, gave me more than I ever deserved and died way too young. I said, wow, this costs a lot of money. Why I like picked it up like how 7-year-old me or whatever, and my dad's like, what do you say, Joel? And I said, wow. And he's like, no, you say thank you. I'll have to like put this video up when I edit it or something. But it was just, I was like, holy I mean, I was a douche as a kid. It makes sense that I'm a YouTuber because in every home video, I have 2 younger siblings. In every home video, I organized, like I was the star of the video. I was telling them what to do in the video. I was telling them how to act. I mean, you guys know I'm still like kind of a control freak, but I was just such a dick. I'm trying to be as nice of a person as possible in my 20s because I need to make up for being a dick as a child. That was one example of many. Yeah, I was such a shithead. No, that was just I miss because I miss my grandfather and he was so nice to me. And the one chance I had to say thank you, I love you so much. I said, wow, this costs a lot of money.
No, he knew what you meant. I mean, you're a kid,
he knew,
so
he didn't give a shit. He fought in World War II. He didn't give a fuck. But he's like, I'll play more. I did say thank you, I think, but it wasn't on the video. But I can't think of something I missed out on. I didn't get a lot into. I wanted Pokemon cards, but my parents thought they were bad, or just they didn't. They thought they were kind of a waste of money. I mean, look at eBay now. They fucked up. That was stupid to have this investment. But I remember wanting Pokemon cards, and I was around 9 at the time, I think, and they said, you got to like get those things with your own money. We're not getting you some damn paper rectangles with animals on them.
Yeah, they are kind of a waste of money.
Yeah. So you can only
Bernie Sanders cards.
Yeah.
Those original boxes are only going for like $13,000 on fucking eBay or whatever it is.
What about you, Shadow?
I am really struggling. Think of
I just wanted to say I am Jewish.
It's okay if you say my crewmas gift. I got you.
No,
same.
This is gonna sound. I know this is gonna get fucking eye rolls and everything, but like I have not been a fan of Christmas for a very, very long time. Like I don't get.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Grinch.
I don't
Hot
get
take.
excited. No. It's more of a Scrooge. The Grinch tried to ruin Christmas for everybody. I keep it to myself.
I hear you.
But like I'm trying to think back to like, was there anything that I really, really wanted? And like, if I didn't get it, would I be disappointed? Not really. Like, I can't. Like, my brother was always the one that was all like, oh yeah, like give me stuff, gimme, and like, most of that stuff was like expensive shit, like, you know, new Xbox or new PlayStation or whatever. And like, if he got it, like, it was kind of like a gift for both of us. So I was just like, yay, cool. But I can't. I honestly can't remember anything that I'm just like, man, like I really, really want this. And I'm not just saying that to be an asshole. Like I genuinely can't.
No, that fits your personality. We understand.
I have another topic, Deluxe. If you want to deviate from whatever
you're gonna take away from his damn topic.
Yeah.
Wow.
No,
savage.
Jump on the sidearms.
What were your parents like with playing video games? Like,
Okay,
were they? Yeah.
So for me, I don't think I've ever told. That's a really good question, Bowie says so.
Thanks. You're welcome.
For me, video games has always been like a part of my life. Like I remember. I don't even remember what age, but I remember getting a regular Nintendo, and it was my cousin's one that was beat up, and he was getting a brand new one, and so I got that one, and you had to put in the cartridge, and you had to blow on it, you had to beat it over your knee, and then you had to put another cartridge inside of that one to hold it down. So there was two in there at the same time to hold it down to play. And I remember my first game I ever got was the Mario and Duck game that I think it came with it for the most part.
Yeah, I think it did.
And I just remember having that big-ass glass TV and, like, banging that gun up against it because I thought if you got real close that you could cheat and kill the ducks and all that stuff. I was one of those people. But for the most part, it had always been a part of my life growing up. That was what I asked for Christmas. That's what I asked for birthdays. I always asked for games. Now, I got 1 to 2 games per event that was going on. And my cousin, that was 6 years older than me, was always the catalyst to me. He had the Mario Nintendo magazine. Was the Power Up or I don't remember the name of it.
Nintendo Power.
Nintendo Power. He had that magazine. I thought it was the coolest
they changed it.
shit ever. And so he got that magazine. That's the only way you could tell back in the day what was coming out next. I had no clue. There was no news. There was no G4, all that stuff. Yeah, there was no internet really. And so I remember all the new Mario games that were coming out because that was kind of my interest at the time. When they started coming out, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Like Mario 3's coming out. Like I'm over here like geeking out over Mario 3. And he just showed me the way when it came to Super Nintendo. We always played sports games and stuff like that, and that's how I got into all that stuff. And then I kind of moved up to PC. The first PC game I ever played was Civilization, and I got addicted and hooked to that. I didn't even play it for the first year. I just went over to my cousin's house and watched him play it. He never let me touch anything. He was like, "No, don't touch, don't touch." And I was like,
Who would watch
"Okay,
people
I don't
play
want
video
to."
games?
But I would always tell him, you know, hey, we need to do this. We would always be the Americans. We would always do the real Earth map, and we would always have to fuck on the Mongolians. It was always the Mongolians that would try to fuck on us, and so we would always be pissed at the Mongolians. They were always like the second best at the time. So I remember playing that game. It took forever to make a move. You would make a move, and then the whole world would have to move, and then you make another move, and the whole world would have to move. So it took forever to play the game. And I just remember it always being in my life, and my parents had always just allowed me to do that. I was never the kid to stay on video games for hours and hours at a time. I would play for an hour, I would get bored, I would go outside and play, and then I would pick it up the next day. It wasn't more of there was never a really addiction. I didn't get addicted to video games until I was in college living with D20. I played Halo, and I didn't stop. I played when I before I went to class, when I got back from class, stayed up late at night. D20 would lay on the couch, sleep, and he would just hear me yelling at people and just sitting there. We'd play Forza, we'd play Halo, we'd play all that stuff, and that's where I got addicted to video games, to be honest. And then I started my YouTube channel. So,
tell them about your main game. RuneScape.
Oh yeah, bud. So I picked up RuneScape as an accident. I picked up RuneScape as an accident. I know you wanted to just talk about RuneScape the whole time, don't you little asshole? I picked up RuneScape. For you don't know, it's a computer-based game, and basically you walk around in a free world and you just try to get your god to be the best armor, and you can trade and all this stuff. But anyways, I picked that up by accident. I did a Yahoo search at the time. That was my search engine. I still use Yahoo to this day. I use Google from time to time, but I use Yahoo for a lot of stuff. And I looked up fun multiplayer game or something like that, and it popped up. It was the first search result. I clicked it, and I stayed on that game for like 3 years. So anyways, that's my RuneScape experience.
So But your parents, what I was, you went on for a while.
How do your parents feel?
Yeah, what did your parents feel about you playing video games?
They to this day, they really don't know what I do. My parents don't know that I really do YouTube, to be honest. They have an idea, they know a little bit, but they don't ask questions that much. And I don't know that they really care, but they just don't know all the way. They don't get it. Like, they're older. They don't get it. They just, whatever. They have like 9 to 5 jobs, and they just don't get it. And so I kind of fill them in from time to time. My mom will say, "Hey, how's the internet thing going?" I'm like, "It's great. All right. Love you. Bye." But that's pretty much it. That's
social play.
Look at social play. I give myself.
Hold me, mama.
But yeah, that's pretty much mine. What about you, Sidearms? What's yours?
Okay, I've told this story before, and I think in a Golf with the Friends, but my 3rd grade teacher hated video games. She'd like try to convince my parents in every single way to not let me play because she thought it was like ruining me. And it almost worked, but I told Mom and Dad, I was like, "Hey, if I'm still getting like good grades and everything, I don't see what the problem is." So they're like, they agreed with me. They took my set over her stupid ass. But anyways,
you want to shout out? No.
Hell no.
Give her a dress out.
But I was super addicted to video games. I'm still am kind of, but come back home from school, play until I fall asleep, get up, go to school. Repeat the cycle, rinse and repeat is what I was looking for. But my parents were always kind of like, you're playing video games too much, you need to get outside and stuff like that. But I don't really like that kind of stuff. I would rather just sit home. In general, if we're, going out and leaving the house to do stuff, I would much rather just stay home, I feel like, most of the time than, do all this stuff. Because you get all these nice things for your home. It's like, man, I can't leave the house. I'm doing all this. I can't get out of the house. Like, well, I don't get it.
I don't want to single you outside, but you're kind of an anomaly in the group because you're one of the only ones that really doesn't have like a sports background or really care that much about sports. Like how D4 was saying, it wasn't a big problem. I think it wasn't really a big problem for all of us because we all played sports. Yeah, when we were children, we all like we all just had other things that we were doing. We none of us were. I mean, you make friends with people you have common interests with and shared history, so it makes sense that we all kind of have this background. We're all generally we're either interested in sports or we played a lot of sports as kids, so we didn't spend a lot of time just on video games, so our parents would get mad about that. And you're kind of the anomaly because you're the only one that really didn't have that history, so it's kind of funny that we're even still friends with you.
Wow.
Not really. No, that took a dark turn. No, it makes you even more better.
But I didn't know to tell my teacher this at the time because I wasn't, I guess, smart enough. But video games really help you in like vocabulary and stuff like that.
Oh, here we go.
When I would write papers, I would use these words that the other kids didn't even hear of. It was all this stuff because I would listen to the games. I can't even think of
all these
word I used.
complicated RuneScape terms.
Yeah, blobster,
party hat,
adamant. And stuff like that, and like just having to pay attention and remember stuff. I feel like video games are more of a benefit than not a benefit. I
like it.
What about you, Shadow? Sorry, go ahead, D20.
I was just gonna kind of. Mine was pretty much like Joel and D4, just because, like, we spent all of our time outside. Like when I was younger, really the only time I remember playing video games until I was probably in high school was like at night when it was too dark to be outside, and we'd come inside and we'd play, video games and stuff like that. But then, like, as like I got in high school and I worked at a video store or whatever, so I could get rent the video games for free, and so then I started playing more. But like D4, I didn't really get like addicted until like I was in college, and
and I was the same on that
like
too.
Online gaming stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't mention that, but that's how I got addicted to Modern Warfare 2 my freshman year of college, and college went a little downhill from there. But
and mine was the same way. Like I would get one or two. I remember just thinking about this the other day that we'd get like a J.C. Penney's catalog or some kind of catalog like that, and it'd have like the new games that came out, and like the games came out like in September or something, but we'd be asking for them for Christmas. And I think now, like, if a new game came out, I couldn't wait like 4 months to get a game. I just go and buy it at the store.
Yeah.
Now, but like as a kid, we're like, all right, Christmas is coming. Let's get our list together of games.
That's no time.
We'll be ready in a couple of months. Don't worry. But like I had a younger brother, so I would, like talk him into be like, hey, you really need this game. That way I got like double the games because he was he was the one that was like, he spends like no money on anything. Like still now he doesn't have cable TV. He wouldn't have internet if he didn't have to use it for his job. Like he doesn't pay for anything. He makes really good money and doesn't spend money on anything. So I'd always be like, well, you have all this money, because of course, like N64, their games were like $70 a piece for like those cartridge games or whatever.
Wasn't any cheaper.
Wait, were they really?
Yeah,
the N60 with inflation. Correct me if I'm wrong, but have you guys seen that chart where like N64 was one of the most expensive consoles with inflation of what it used to cost back in the day, or there was something like the consoles nowadays when people were complaining about the Xbox One and the PS4 being like $500-$400. That's right in line or less than what other consoles used to cost for inflation included prices back in the day.
I feel like that kind of makes sense though, because that was new technology back then.
Well, and I mean, they were the only ones that still had cartridges. Everybody else was going, like the Sony PlayStation was going to disc and
compact
all that kind of stuff.
discs.
Yeah. And so they were so much cheaper to reproduce than those giant cartridges. And so, I don't know.
But I remember, just with that money thing, I remember having to, my only job when I was like 12 was mowing lawns for my grandma, and she would give me $20 for every lawn. And she lived on a farm. I mean, she still lives there. And it was a lot of land. I don't know how many acres of lawn it was, but it would take 4 hours if I was concentrating to mow the whole lawn. And I did that all summer, and she would give me $20 for every lawn. So summer is 12 weeks long, and the PlayStation 2 at the time, I think, cost $220 with tax or something. I don't know. I just remember knowing I needed $220. So it took me from, I think, so I needed 20, or I needed, I can't do the math now. I remember really thinking hard about it at the time, because I needed $20 this many number of times. I think 11 times.
11 times.
Yeah. So it was like almost all
So
summer.
that's your whole 12 weeks.
Yeah, from
No
June
games
to
for
yeah,
you.
yeah. So hey, going
No
back,
games,
just
no
got my
extra controller.
PS2. Yeah, just got my PS2. Going back to school, but I remember, yeah, the value of money is just, I have 2 consoles now, and I just fucking bought them with my YouTube riches.
Living large on 1 million subs.
Yeah. It's just, I remember just grinding, just hours spent doing it. It's just, I loved it so much because of that.
How are your parents, Jetta?
What with regards to video games and stuff?
Yeah, how they perceived them.
Didn't really care. Like I had, like my parents were divorced. Like they split up when I was 7, and that's, by the way, that's not a sob story. My life couldn't be better. Divorced parents. Whatever.
For the better.
Like,
Sorry for your loss, shut up.
My mom was My mom was very like just laid back. Like if she saw that my brother and I were playing video games for like very long periods of time, she would probably say like, "Hey, you guys kind of want to like get off that shit," and they'd be like,
Classic
okay.
mom.
But no, like she just kind of let us do whatever. And like I was kind of like Deluxe. Like I never really, I couldn't really sit down and play video games for like very, very, very long periods of time. Like I'd get bored or whatever. But as far as like setting strict limits or whatever, just pretty much just anything that we wanted to do, like my mom just kind of like, yeah, all right, as long as it wasn't drugs or anything like that.
Heroin.
That she didn't provide. So yeah, it was just never really much thought wasn't really put into it. Again, I just a very relaxed household.
I like it.
I think that's why I am the person I am today.
Sounds fun.
Ain't nothing's a big deal.
Ain't nothing's a big deal.
Second topic.
Before
Can
drive
I
the
come
ship.
over.
All
No
right.
inside jokes, Zach. Come on. You fuck.
The next topic that I want to talk about is everyone's favorite topic, and I don't know if we have enough time for this topic. We might have to continue this some other time, but bad driving is a big obstacle in my life every day, and I'm not talking about mine. I'm talking about everyone else's. Maybe I'm the bad driver, but I feel like I have some rules of the road. I have bad road rage inside the car. I will say this: just 2 days ago, Joe McKnight got killed. He's a football player. Used to play for the Jets. Used to play for USC here in America. And there was an altercation. No one really knows what happened, but a witness says that there was someone cut someone off. They both got out of their car. They started yelling at each other. One guy, a guy shot Joe McKnight and killed him over road rage, and that's something that I will never do. I usually put my hands up.
You'll never commit murder?
Yeah, never commit murder. I don't flip people off very often.
I do that too much.
I honk a little bit, but
The tie-dye shirt guy?
if someone's very aggressive back towards me or tries to get on my ass, I'm not the one to try to brake check them. I'm not that guy. I just stay in my lane and keep on. Maybe no eye contact if they're getting a little too crazy. But I feel like a lot of the reasons why people have wrecks is because we have a lot of the slower drivers that drive in the left lane, and we have to swerve around them, and then that makes people have to judge distances and speeds of other cars around them. So when you have to get over to the slow lane to pass someone that is going slower in the fast lane, so you're going from right to left. And big trucks really piss me off too on the highway. If they would just stay in the right lane no matter what, and if everything's clear, then they could pass, everything would go a lot smoother. I live in an area that has a lot of 2-lane highways, 2 lanes on each side, 4-lane, I guess you'd call it. But it's just a lot of big trucks always on the left side. They feel like they have to pass the next big truck that they're going 5 miles an hour. It takes them literally 15 minutes to pass a car or another truck the same size going basically the same speed. And then grandma's in the left lane, and she doesn't know any difference. The difference between the right lane is a slow lane, left lane is a fast lane. And there are some states where they actually pull you over if you're in the left lane going slower than the people in the right lane. That does happen.
Michigan's one of them.
Yeah,
think,
Michigan.
right?
Yeah, Michigan has a law that if you get passed but see, that's really hard to enforce because of just think about having to cross as an officer to enforce that. If you're sitting, you're not going to catch people doing it because you're just seeing cars go by you at 70 miles per hour if you're sitting in the median. And if you're in the pattern of traffic, I mean, I guess if you see the people going by, then you'll go up and get that person. But it's a really hard law to enforce. I really want to hear Shadow's thoughts on this topic, though, because he drives more than any of us. Or I used to drive for a job, but he used to drive really far for a job.
I again don't. If somebody does something really stupid, I've also never been in a wreck. Like if I get in an accident and it's somebody else's fault, I'd probably get really fucking pissed off and I might have to shoot a bitch. But other than that, obviously kidding. Other than that, like if somebody cuts me off, it's just like, hey man, like whatever. I think it's I think I've just kind of accepted the fact that this is everyone else's world and I'm just living in it. Or at least that's kind of, you know, like, oh man, like kind of like what you said, Deluxe, like, oh, like I gotta pass this guy. Like there's no other cars on the road that I have to worry about. Like I have to get to where I'm going as soon as I possibly can. Everybody move over. And I don't think that's necessarily
All those people morons.
It's not something that they're actively thinking of, but you kind of can't help it at to some degree because like your perspective on life is the only one that you're ever going to see, and sometimes like you kind of forget that you look at other cars as just kind of like not obstacles in the road. It's just like things that just kind of exist. And so like when I'm on the road, I put that in perspective where like if somebody like I don't know, somebody cuts me off, or if somebody's going like really, really slow in front of me, it's just like, hey, you know, like it's not like they're actively trying to piss anybody off. Now, I do think that is incredibly dangerous, and I agree with that thought. But as far as like me personally, like getting road rage and angry, and I just drive. Like I'm too busy listening to music and enjoying my music. Like, yeah, my opinions might change if somebody, you know, T-bones me, but until that time, just I don't really put too much thought into it.
Do you have a rule you wanted to propose, Deluxe?
Not really a rule. It's just be aware. Number one, your speed. If people are passing, this is daily. I'm not joking. Come up on somebody.
Thing should be a law everywhere.
Yeah, I agree. It's not, but it should be. If I just be self-aware is my biggest thing. If I'm driving and I'm usually in the left lane, I'm usually going fast. I'm usually going a little bit over the speed limit. 5 miles usually is over speed limit. I'll admit that. That's on normal. I'm going 5 over most of the time. If you're in the left lane and I come up to you, you should at least see me and either try to get over or know that you are going slower than I am. I shouldn't have to pass you on the right, then get back over. If you do get passed on the right, let's say you're listening to music, you're not really worried about people behind you, you're only worried about the road in front of you, which is fine with me. If I pass you and I'm going faster than you and I get back over in the fast lane, you just saw that I passed you. That means, oh, brain, they just passed me. I probably need to look around me. Is there anybody else? And yes, there's probably 5 to 6 people behind you. You probably need to get over as soon as you can so those people can get along their way and get past you. You are the obstacle making everyone swerve in and out of traffic to get around you because you're going slower than the people in the right lane. Like, that's the whole point. Like, they just think the whole road is theirs.
You should feel like I feel shame if someone passes me. I'm in the left lane and I see it happen, which rarely happens because I, try to pay attention when I drive in a car. I feel shameful. Like you're like, oh my, this isn't the pattern of traffic. Like it's a thing for a reason. Unless you're distraught, like you just had some catastrophic event happen in your life, I would feel embarrassed if somebody did that. I would feel kind of like shame that I broke the rules of the road, quite literally in my state, not in every state, but you're supposed to pass on the left and stay on the right if you're not passing. And when people don't do that, yeah, it is really frustrating.
Is it okay if I go?
Go ahead, Sad. I'll add something after this because I have something to add later. But go ahead.
Okay. I think I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive this is a thing. This can be fixed by a quick Google search. But in Germany, you guys all know probably that the highways don't have any speed limits and
The Autobahn.
The Autobahn.
Yeah, and it has lower accident rates than here. So
I think people are taught how to drive better there.
Yeah,
I'm being honest. They'll give anybody a
I
driver's
definitely
license
think
in the
I
United States.
agree with Joel that the left lane thing should be a law everywhere. But I also agree that how you're supposed to enforce it unless you're just
Right.
driving along. It's like, well, fuck.
I agree with that, but I think the main problem is distracted drivers. People are on their phone.
Oh, yeah, golly.
Stuff. I think that's the main problem with most of wrecks is someone's just not paying attention. Either they're zoned out, or they're on their phone, or they're yelling at their kids, or they're trying to eat 2 Big Macs at the same time. I mean, whatever it is,
Aw.
I think it's just they're distracted. And even though a lot of places, where you can't use your cell phones while you're driving, can't text while you're driving, but just like the passing, there's no way to enforce that really. And so,
Well-
I mean, I don't think it's going to get any better. Just
And I think
because
it's
of
going to get worse.
Right.
And the technology we need the most in our lifetime, like the thing I am most looking forward to, is when everyone is fully autonomous in driving. Cars need to be fully autonomous. I mean, just think about how many people die in car accidents a year. I believe this is correct. If I'm wrong, I do not have the dated statistic, but I believe around 40,000 people die in car accidents every year. That is the acceptable loss rate by our government, by everyone. I mean, I understand that the technology is being worked on and it's becoming better. It has to be fully autonomous. There's no fully autonomous technology yet. Technology can't make split-second decisions. I mean, it can make like stop decisions, but it can't, like, technology can't choose how many lives are killed. Like, if there's cars are going to come out of head-on collision, there's nothing you can stop. Humans can make decisions that the robots can't, but at the same time, there's so many just daily, cars don't get emotional. Like cars, you're not going to just rage around somebody. That technology is needed so bad because 40,000 is the acceptable loss rate every single year in the United States. And I mean, around the world, I'm sure there's other car accidents in less developed places. I mean, there's car accidents everywhere, but it's kind of mind boggling. Could you imagine if 40,000 people died on airplanes every year? We wouldn't have airplanes anymore. I mean, nobody would. People, when I remember, because I travel, obviously we travel a decent amount, and having a conversation with my wife one time, driving to the airport, and she's like, she doesn't travel as much. She's like, I'm kind of nervous to fly. I haven't flown in a while, and I was just thinking, like, I'm nervous to drive on this road. Like, I'm not gonna die in a plane. The chances of me like dying on this. My wife and I have gotten in a car accident before. Like, somebody's hit us, and even in the last 3 weeks, each of us have had somebody from our high school that we went to high school with die in a car accident. Like, her high school, we didn't go to the same high school, so someone in her high school has died in a car accident in their early 20s. Someone in my high school in their early 20s died in a car accident, and that's just you know people that get in car accidents, and people that die in car accidents. Like, it's going to be something that we tell to our children or our grandchildren, and they'll think it's like savagery. Like, I can't believe that they did that way. Like, it was the early 1900s where people practiced surgery without modern medicine.
Right.
Yeah, I was looking at some stuff, and it says that according to CDC, the motor vehicle traffic accidents are the leading cause of death, at least 1 or 2 for all age groups. The only ones that it's not is like 1 to 4-year-olds, but like 5-year-olds to 34-year-olds, which is what most of the people that are listening to this are. It's all number 1 for all of those.
And most
so,
of
like,
the people in this country.
Yeah,
Right.
and so, I mean, there's like plane crashes, like you said, and snakes, spiders, all these things that people are scared of. Like, none of those are, in the top probably 10 of deaths, but no one's scared to hop in a car and drive, whatever. So
I'm scared. I mean, because I just think about that. It's that that's part of the problem. Like you said, I'm driving in a large chunk of metal. I'm going to look at my phone when I'm going 70 miles per hour. You get so used to it. There's a problem with the human psyche where you get so used to these things. If you can think of the first time you drove in a car when you're learning how to drive, you're like, holy like this is scary. Like it moves by itself. Yeah, if you don't have your foot on the brake, it moves by itself. Right. It's but you just get so used to it. I mean, the human psyche can adapt to anything, and you adapt to this thing you do over and over again. Sometimes you'll be driving, you're not even thinking about driving. It becomes a subconscious process. And it's just so dangerous, and I just wish, I've stated many times that I hate driving. I don't like driving places. Side made me drive to the airport at 4:14 in the morning, and I wanted to kill myself. At least there's no cars. He forced me to. He used the mind trick. But it's just so I just could not ever enjoy it, knowing how dangerous it really is, and because it's not. The drivers, like you say, to start the topic, you're not really worried about yourself. It's all the other people. I mean, there's a bunch of other people and other. Oh, I hate that I'm talking so much. I'm sorry. I'm really enjoying this. But somebody in East Lansing, where I live, literally 2 days ago, Megan texted me this when Side and Shadow and I were recording this that BuzzFeed thing that I put out on my channel. Link in the description. I got you, so in East Lansing, somebody drove off the road, off the highway ramp. I'll show you next time when you're here, Side, next month.
Is it the new fatal spot?
Yeah, it's like just a few exits beyond the spot where I got into a car accident. Somebody just drove off the highway ramp. They hit 3 cars. They went up a ledge. They drove into 3 cars in a parking lot. And he was trying to drive into a restaurant. Like he just got his car just wrecked before he got into a restaurant, and he got out of his car, and there were witnesses obviously in the parking lot. It's a parking lot of a restaurant, and he was laughing hysterically. And I guess he was high on some type of drug, but he the process hit 6 cars with his car. And that could just. I mean, what's to stop? What am I supposed to do to prevent that? What if I was there? Like I eat that restaurant all the time, so I could have just been. And my car could have just got wrecked because some guy likes angel dust or whatever the fuck he was on. Like it's insane to me. And I don't know. This is I didn't think this was a great topic, but I really care about this topic now. The more that we think about it.
One more thing to add, and we'll finish. This will be the last thing we talk about. But when you see someone texting, what do you do? And I'll tell you what I do first. If I see someone texting and I pull up beside them and I see him texting, I'll give them a little honk. Like, hey, get off your fucking phone. And I'll kind of mouth them like, get off your phone. Because a lot of people are like weaving a lot of times. It's mostly women. Men, I'll be honest, I don't want to do that too because they get, the fucking road rage crazy. I think I could take any woman, no offense, but I don't know if I can take all these men. But for the most part.
Hear that, Rhonda?
But and also, I can tell when someone's texting. If I'm behind somebody and they're swerving from side to side, I can tell they're texting. For the most part, I can see through the window, and you can tell when their head's down, up, head down, up, and they're swerving somewhat. I stay back because if I try to pass them, they will not be paying attention. If I come to an abrupt stop, and they might run into the back of me, and I'm not trying to have that. So I try to stay behind them as much as I can, or try to hurry up and get past them as quick as possible. But for the most part, I do try to give people a little honk when I do see them with texting and driving. What do you guys do?
I try to pass them, but I think you're right. I should not try to pass them because
passing is probably the riskiest thing you could do at the time.
Oh, I was gonna say I give him a little ram, but I guess passing sounds worse.
Introduce him to the steel.
Yeah.
I don't always try to pass them, but I try to stay away from them is what I mean. So if they're whatever on the left, I try to go as far right as I can until I'm not.
Yeah, if
with
I
them.
see him if it's a light situation, I'll like I won't honk my horn, but I'll like stare at them through the window, and then because I've gotten like shrugs before, and I'll do the thing where I shake my head like psh.
Yeah, SMH.
That's kind of
like I'm really teaching them by pishing at them. Yeah, but I piece of shit. I mean, because that's. I sometimes I look at my phone too. Like I don't text everyone I'm driving. I'm like really against that. But like sometimes if I'm at a stoplight, I live in a pretty busy area. I mean, there's some traffic jams. There's some stoplights. Like you're gonna. I use my phone for directions. I usually mount it, but they're so useful nowadays. Like you depend on them so much. That's why it needs to be autonomous, because part of me doesn't blame people for doing it, because I mean, your livelihood is on these phones sometimes. Like my job is done on my phone a lot. Like it's something that needs to be addressed, and I just hope we get autonomous sooner than later, because it's dangerous.
That is something that I'm glad you said, like, because I do the same exact thing.
We can't be hypocrites.
if I'm in a, well, this is also kind of like the reason, like, yeah, texting and driving is bad. Talking on your phone and driving is bad. Like, should not do it. However, like you said, if there's a traffic jam, or like if you're at like an intersection and you know it has a long red light because you're on like the less busy street, you know, like you just get on your phone and check Twitter for 30 seconds, and just because, like,
do you really do that?
yeah.
What? Yeah.
Oh, no.
At stoplights, I do check my stuff.
What are you, not
Yeah.
his friend anymore, son?
I don't know if I can come over anymore,
shut
son.
it.
I don't know if I can come
I'm not sitting here saying that it's a good thing,
Hitler.
and obviously,
Right.
like, the phone goes down when I'm moving, but
Yeah.
You got
I
it on
mean,
vibrate?
I don't like. Do I do anything when I see somebody texting and driving? Not really. Like, because they're just gonna do it anyway. Like, who the hell am I? Like, I'm some random dude.
Shut up, freaking beats, man.
I guess.
You know how many people Joel has stopped from texting and driving just by his
Yeah.
psh.
I don't. That's the thing. No, I guess
Save it
I
in
would
one
do
card
it
at a
more.
time.
Like if someone passed me and flipped me off for like no reason, so I went back and like flipped them off. Like that's like the human's like. Yeah, I really don't think I could. That's what people, they have that commercial about it, and people just make memes of it on the internet. Like it's
Oh, like
It's-
this is the last thing my friend
yeah,
sent
the
me?
last thing my friend sent me, and I feel it's sad because that's a real thing. Like I said, Megan and I know people that have died in the last month just in car accidents from our school. But it's something that cannot be avoided because of how much we depend on phones. And if you want to say that's pathetic or whatever, I mean, it's one of the most influential technologies of our. I mean, it is the most influential technology of our lifetime. Smartphones and how accessible the internet is. It's something that cannot, to a point, be avoided. And it's I just, if my kids are learning to drive and there aren't still fully autonomous cars, I mean, I would probably be like 18 years from now. But I hope there are by then, because it's going to be a huge issue. I
honestly
it's going
don't
to be worse.
see it happening just because of the fact that, I mean, it may eventually, but the fact that like companies that produce these cars or whatever, they're wide open for lawsuits if there is a wreck, because it's supposed to take care of whatever. Whereas now, somebody has a wreck, it's human error, and they're not accountable unless it was something wrong with the vehicle. But so I think as far as like lawsuits and stuff, I mean, companies don't want to put themselves on the line by saying, yeah, you don't even have to drive this car.
Yeah,
And then it
Joel,
wrecks, and they're sued and out millions of dollars or whatever. So I
D20
think that may be something that kind of puts a hold on it.
Do you know who's at fault if someone who's using like the Tesla autopilot thing? This Joel might know this.
I
Like,
don't think there's
who's-
been a lawsuit against it yet.
No.
Well,
Okay.
there's been lawsuits against Google cars. I mean, Google's gonna win all this. That's the good thing about Google. It's that they're gonna win most of those lawsuits. But I don't know. I can't think of. That would be pretty major news, right? That's another thing. Like, it's gonna be a slow burn. Like, it's not just gonna be, on Tuesday we're gonna have all automatic cars on the road, and then on all self-driving or all driving cars on the road, and then Wednesday we're gonna have autonomous cars. Like, it's little things. Like now Tesla and I can't remember. I think Mercedes,
yeah.
BMW, yeah, they all have that. Well, Tesla has autopilot. A few of the manufacturers come standard with the autopilot function, but mostly every car has auto stop. And every car in Michigan, produced in Michigan, GM, Ford, they're all going to have backup cameras starting this year. Like, and it's going to be a slow burn. Like, they're going to become more and more autonomous. You can just slowly add these features now, and probably 5 years from now, that self-driving thing on the highway that Tesla has, because Tesla is nice enough to open up their patents, that's probably going to be in most manufactured vehicles 2 or 3 years from now. And then after that, there's going to be some technology where it makes lane decisions or stuff like that. It's going to be a slow burn. That's how progress happens in a country that's so large, with like D20 said, lawsuits, bureaucracy, all this garbage that there's no better system, but it just slows down progress because the technology is out there. But then you got to convince all the stupid, like I was gonna say stupid. Well, my mom hates the idea of autonomous cars. So, God damn it, mom. But you gotta it's for the greater good. But to do that, you have to fight so hard for it, and it's going to take so long. So it's going to be a slow process.
Well, all right. Well, we're going to kind of wrap it up with
On that sad note.
But I do want to
all
thank
gonna die.
everybody for coming to this podcast. I know it took a lot to get all you guys together and to kind of talk about this stuff. But I thought it was really fun.
What the hell?
I didn't have anything for.
Yeah, how much am I getting paid?
God,
You
all
said
right.
you'd pay us.
1% of 0 is still 0, okay? But
Are you going
for
to put
the
it on
most
SoundCloud
part,
for the people?
Oh, okay. I knew you were
put
gonna
that.
do this. I knew you
put
were gonna
that.
do
Yeah,
this.
put that in the description, dude. So you're going to put it on SoundCloud
Okay,
for the people.
so
after
I'm going
like
to
a
put
day
it
or
on
something.
SoundCloud for
'Cause you gotta
Joel,
make your money.
but it's going to be a day later. That will be the thing. It might be
You gotta get
one
your
and a
paper.
half to two days later.
Might even
But
be 2 days later.
Because
even be
it
1
might
week later.
happen.
be
Oh,
a week.
wow. Wow,
Yeah,
okay.
Could
D4's
be when
got
the
to get
next
his
one comes
paper,
out.
guys.
all right. But I'm going to put it on SoundCloud for you guys that really want to listen to it that way. I did have a lot of requests to that from the last comments. I read every single one of those comments. You guys were amazing on all the likes. You guys were amazing on all the comments. So if you want to hear more from these group of people, and also if you have something to say about any of the subjects that we talked about, I promise you we're going through the comments. We're going to look at those things and see what exactly your feedback is. Because remember, this is number 2 of our CrewCast podcast. And I just want to thank all the guys again for coming. D20, Shadow, Joel, Sidearms, thank you guys for coming. You guys were amazing. I thought it was awesome. Again, if you like this type of thing, let us know. Hit us up on Twitter as well. I'll put everybody's YouTube link, all our Twitter links. If you want to follow any of these guys, you like it, what you hear, hit them up for sure. We also have links down below for a couple videos. Joel's video is down there as well, so if you want to
No,
hit that up.
you don't have to actually do
It
that.
is actually down there.
And
So
B-Dub's video.
you can click
You know
it all
what?
you want to. Yeah, B-Dub's video and
Put
Joel's
mine
video
on
is
there,
down
Yeah,
there.
can I suggest a couple videos you can put down?
No, we can't. We run out of time, guys. We run out
What's
of
max?
time. We don't have a budget here. We don't have any sponsors
doing a
yet, so
Pokemon series.
you know.
Here's episodes 1 through 20 in the description.
But if you wouldn't mind, share this with anybody. You know, it's whatever. But I love you guys so much. Thank you for coming to again another podcast. We'll see you guys next week.